What's your favorite scary movie?
Do you ever fantasize about
damn enchiladas?
That's much too vulgar display of power, Karen.
Let me ask you one question. Are you having fun?
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Because I promise you, you and I are going to have some fun.
Oh, no.
It is time to keep your appointment with the Wicker Man.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Shut up, you bitch hog.
Game over.
Do you know, I only got around to watching this film last night.
Yeah, I watched it last night too.
But you have it on DVD. Golf clap for you, because physical media will always
We have 2 copies of it on DVD, it turns out.
Where's mine? Why didn't you send it down?
Because I bought it like a couple of weeks ago. We were in CAX, and I was like, "Oh, Creep! Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that being pretty good." It was a couple of quid, whatever. I thought, I'll grab that. And then we were watching it last night, and Vic was like, she just sort of mentioned, she's like, "Oh, this is mine, isn't it?" And I was like, "No, I bought this the other week."
It isn't hers,
like,
copy.
She was like, I've got this. Why did you buy it again? I've got this. I was like, well, I didn't know that. I just bought it. We were in the store and I saw it and I bought it on a whim. I wasn't really planning to, but yeah, it turns out we both have a copy of it now. So
fantastic. Yeah, I mean this. I had to get it through other means.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as folks want to know where we get our films from, where we watch our films. Other means on the interwebs.
Yes.
Do you know what is really good to have? It's a little software program called Private Internet Access. Highly recommend it. Or you can get ExpressVPN. Yeah, all these great little services. And it just magically made me get Creep. So I managed to watch it last night. But this just solidifies the whole argument of the streaming shit show that we live with nowadays, where I only have Shudder, Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus.
Yeah, then. Yeah.
Not on any of them. Now, granted, it probably wouldn't have been on Disney Plus. Highly unlikely on
that, but I watched Barbarian on Disney Plus.
That is the only place you can watch that film.
Yeah.
It doesn't even exist on DVD or. It's mad.
It's surprising that what is on Disney Plus, to be quite honest. But I take your point. Yeah.
Yeah. No Creep on Netflix. I mean, Netflix's horror selection is very dire at that point.
Yes.
Amazon's is normally pretty good at the time because they mix with Shudder. But that's the thing. I even if I wasn't doing this podcast and I figured I haven't watched Creep in a long time. Yeah, that's quite cool. I'd like to watch that. Can't watch it anywhere. It's actually not possible. It's ridiculous. Like, I want to now go buy this on DVD just to have it. Might want to watch it in 10 years.
Yeah.
Who knows? But, yeah, it sucks. There's a lot of films like that, and I think that hankers back to last week when I was talking about the Wishmaster collection that I want to get. It's nice to have it. And I also want, ever since we did the episode, one of your firsts, I want to get that 4K edition of Cannibal Holocaust. Because I want it. Yeah. I just want it up there. Probably won't watch it again.
No, but it's just good to have. It's like you say, we don't really own anything anymore. If you're just relying on things being on streaming services or digital, things can be removed and
goes with games.
Away.
Goes with games too. You do anything you have on Steam, you don't own. You don't own it. I own all this. Especially the older ones, which nothing can be patched.
Yeah.
As long as I've got a working PS2, all this is going to work. But yeah, welcome one and all, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. Have I got that right? Have I messed it up already? Yeah. Everyone. Welcome back to the Dreadcast, episode 73.
Oh, you nailed it.
Only because...
is that right, though? Is it 73?
I'm going to double check.
Because, you said that with such confidence.
I did.
Are we going to get a retraction next week when you go, actually?
It's actually 117. I'm looking. It
Once
is
again, we don't
73.
know. We don't know what we're doing. Yeah, we do.
73
Yeah, we do.
because
There we go.
I was finishing the artwork for My Bloody Valentine this morning and it was 72. So yes, welcome back to the Dreadcast episode 73. And Tom, it's the clean shaven Aiden.
Hello.
Oh, that works. That works. I'm going to put that in your little bio now at the bottom.
Smooth as a baby seal.
Yeah, smooth as a Craig head. Yes, and today's episode, it's a very special episode today because we're going to be talking about Radiohead's seminal song Creep.
Yes.
Is that not right?
Yeah. No, we are. We're talking about
no, it's TLC. We're doing TLC.
Sorry, no, the TLC version.
We're going to be
TLC. Not
nice.
version because they're different songs, but yeah,
we're going to be doing probably an hour and a half review on a 3-minute song. So really in depth review. No, we're just joshing you. We're doing the
Kelly Clarkson version.
Is there a Kelly Clarkson?
There's Kelly Clarkson. I mean, Kelly Clarkson has a song called Creep, as does Prince. I mean, I don't know if these are all variations of one or the other song.
I know we're past it now, but Kelly Clarkson has a banger Christmas song.
Oh really?
Oh, what? All right.
What?
What?
Sorry, I'm not.
What do you mean, what?
Sorry, my finger isn't on the pulse of what Kelly Clarkson's doing.
I thought I knew what you were. What I was signing you up for. I thought I knew you. No,
we're talking. Slowly going to morph into a Kelly Clarkson podcast.
No, we're not talking about the songs today, and we're not talking about the 2014 horror movie called Creep.
No,
which nowadays a lot of people. I've said to a few people.
Every time I've mentioned to people over the last week,
yes.
What's the next episode of the pod? What you're doing for the podcast next? It's been Creep, but not that one.
Yep, but not that one because this one somehow just drifted aside, and the 2014 Creeps sort of took over in people's minds of, oh, when you say that word in horror context, that's what they think of. Because there's a sequel as well to it, I believe, 2017.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. It's two
I've never seen them either. I've only seen this one.
They are very good. The first one is certainly. I definitely remember. I've definitely seen that one. I'm pretty sure I've seen the sequel, but yeah, worth a watch, mate. Definitely check them out.
POV.
Is it?
They were POV.
Oh God, it's a while since I've watched it. It's sort of found footage, I think.
Okay.
It's found footage. If I remember rightly, and apologies if anybody's going like, no, that's not what happened.
Actually, you're wrong.
It's like a video diary of a serial killer, basically. So they find these tapes. Or no, is it a video diary? No, I think it's somebody coming to interview him. God, it's a while since I've watched it. Actually, I might be one to have another crack at because it's a while since I've seen it. But yeah, it is found footage. I can't remember just what the framing device of the found footage is. Whether it's somebody making a documentary and going to meet this guy, or whether it's this guy's sort of video diary.
Okay.
And it's I can't remember if it's like a dating thing or it's an interview thing, but. Yeah, the titular Creep is just a guy that sort of, as the film goes on, is getting steadily sort of weirder and a little bit more full on and potentially angry, violent. But yeah, it's a good watch, definitely. And then the sequel picks up, I think, almost immediately where the second one ends.
Is he a creep?
He's, I mean, yeah.
What? Shocking.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is just quickly a brief synopsis.
Yeah, go for it.
Aaron answers an online ad and drives to a stranger's house to film him for the day. The man wants to make a movie for his unborn child, but his requests become more bizarre as the day goes along.
Okay.
So yeah, there is it's a sort of found footage documentary style, and this guy is slightly unhinged. We
could have done a month of Creeps. Creep 2. Creep Show. Creep Show.
Oh, we should have done
the Creep month.
That we didn't do that now.
That'd be more than a month if it's Creep 2, Creep Show 2, Creep Show 3.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Okay, scrap the future schedule.
So, folks, you know about all those new series we've been planning. We're not going to be doing Treehouse of Horror anymore, or the Raven-sized Coffin. We are moving into creep territory
until we have done all of the creeps.
All of them, yes, and the songs and the Kelly Clarkson
and the songs. Yes.
So yes, 2004 Creep. This was your pick. By the way, before we get into it, do you have anything to bring to the table?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if what it is, but I know we're not journalists. We don't have time to be journalists or research horror. Busy. Yeah, research horror news 24/7. Like I said, folks, just go to bloodydisgusting.com. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want the horror news, we pretty much copy and paste it into here anyway. So
I mean, it is. Yeah. True.
The only thing that kind of stood out to me as of late was that obviously there's a sequel to Megan. Hooray!
Oh yeah.
We'll do it, obviously, but not looking forward to it. Neither here nor there. Yeah, just But that's been moved to May next year. So sorry, folks, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for our hot take on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't know what it is. It just I don't know, the horror new, maybe like I said, not looking into it as much, but there's not been anything really in your face too much about big horror news at the moment.
Yeah,
like big releases. It's not really the time of the year. It doesn't really feel like.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I can fairly safely say I've not
just
not been looking. I've not really had an eye out for things.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
By the same token, I agree. I don't think there's been anything big enough to just sort of filter it, because I'm still following various other horror accounts and things on social media and stuff. So you think if there was something big, it would have drifted across my radar, I'm sure. But
well, we are not a horror news podcast. We I don't even want to say we review movies. We talk about them. We watch them and we give our opinions. Well, that's it. Very simple. Here and there, we'll sprinkle in some news that we copy and paste from Bloody Disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just as we find stuff out.
So, just before we do get into it as well, last week's episode... Hang on. I'm just trying to think ahead in the future by the time this releases. So, last week, we had a double feature because busy life got them out at the same time. We had The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, the brand new series on this show.
Yep.
Great fun discussion, discussing the first two Treehouses of Horror. And every month we'll be doing the next two and so on. So next month in March, we'll be doing 3 and 4, 4 and 5, so on. So, and following that
3 and 4, not 3, 4, then 4, 5, then 5, 6. 3 and 4, then 5 and 6.
That's one, Aiden. You only get 2 more. Okay. You talk back to me like that, okay?
I don't.
You only get 2 more.
Get it right. Just get it right.
Go start your own channel.
Fine, I will. With blackjack
and hookers. Damn it, that would actually be quite fun.
But forget the horror movies.
And on top of that, we also have the My Bloody Valentine 3D from 2009 remake episode that got released. So there was a bit of a double feature release last weekend. Again, I'm trying to think of the future. Last weekend, you can go back and listen to them. Check them out. Give them a like. Give them all that like, upbeat, positive jazz.
Yes, like, share, and subscribe.
Push it,
please.
Push it. Spread it with the world. Send your opinions in to
the Dreadcast podcast at gmail.com.
That's the ticket, because it's gathering dust balls, and it costs a lot to have an email account. It's
really draining the resources.
More so energy. It costs a lot to click the mouse to swap my account to the Drake. Anyway, I digress. We got a horror movie to talk about today. Now, this horror movie specifically, I'm really glad you picked, because I've only ever seen it once.
Okay.
And it was around the time I was in sixth form? No, doing my GCSEs, so 2004, around that time. And it's one of those ones when you're young and you see the trailer on TV and you're like, whoa, that looks cool and interesting, because the main point of that is because It's set in London, in the underground, which to me, I mean, you're obviously up more north, to me is incredibly grounded in reality.
I mean, that's fair. I can't remember, the first time I watched this, I must have been, it was a few years after it come out, so I think I would have been 22, 23-ish, I think. So maybe like 3 or 4 years after it came out. But about a fortnight or so after I saw it, I went to London for not the first time, but the first time as an adult by myself, and not like a trip with my parents or anything. And I was with a friend of mine. We'd gone to see a gig. We'd gone to see a gig, and we went down into the underground, into the tube. And I was kind of looking around. It was a fairly empty platform, and I sort of went, "Have you ever seen Creep?" And my friend went, "Shut up! Why did you say that? Why would you say that?"
I always think about it. Always think about it. Because there's not many. I could never think of, while I was watching, any other horror films that really focus on the underground in general, the London underground.
No, but weirdly. Yeah, there is. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it now, which is annoying. But I've just searching for this, and there is a website that I think documents all media that is set on the London Underground.
That actually sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I know. It was. Oh God, I'll keep looking for that as we chat along.
And do.
When I relook, I can't remember exactly what I searched for to find it, but when I do, I will. We'll have a look at that. But yeah, no, there's nothing that springs to mind.
There's something about.
I mean, there's nothing else that springs to mind that's set in any sort of underground, metro, train. I mean, are there any New York subway horror movies? There's got to be.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you have to be very specific, because you have to say, like, set, like, focus in.
Not just like on a scene. There is a scene.
No,
I'm talking like the whole premise of the film is in and around the.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's a good. I mean, maybe it's some research we should have done before this.
Probably. But
hey, if you know, folks, send it on into Dreadcast podcast and do the work for us. It'd be really helpful to have a look. Or you could, Aidan could just type it out now while I'm
googling it now.
I'll pander to the crowd. So yes, I like you. Probably a couple of years after I saw this, because it was similar to when I saw the first Saw trailer. I remember I was in DT at school, design and technology, basically like woodwork, and I remember someone on the CRT computer there bringing it up and like, look at this, it's crazy, look at this horror film, whoa. So I had that same feeling as a young kid. It's kind of like how nowadays you see a trailer like that, okay, you can find all the information you want about it. You could probably even find the film, like a rip or whatever, or an illegal download. Back then, you got no information. It was kind of, once you saw that trailer, that was all you got. You had to try. You'd get fan theories. Maybe you'd come up with theories yourself, what the film was about. Yep. You wouldn't be able to see it because you weren't old enough. I remember my dad. He used to get me 3 DVDs for a tenner from the guy down the pub, with made up printed like A4 slip covers in the cases. Nice. I remember my first Devil's Rejects copy was really bad. It was like a cam rip. But you don't get that nowadays.
No. And
that had a bit of thrill and excitement to it. And Creep is one of those films, because I remember me and a few other friends who were big into horror, we couldn't get it anywhere. Couldn't find it anywhere. And we wanted it so badly because, we'd been to London a lot. I used to live an hour's drive from London. Yeah. On the motorway. So I've been to London quite a bit when I was younger. And the tube it's like I said, it's so grounded in reality to me. I know that tube station. I know the tube in general. So it feels like, whoa, this is a real, it's Charing Cross, isn't it? It's not a fictional tube station. Yeah. That's where that's where all the money went. Hiring out Charing Cross. Yeah.
Now, doing the hard work so we don't have to.
Have you done something, Ace?
IMDb has, or somebody's put together an IMDb list for specifically subway horror.
I'm excited.
Now, Creep is number 2 on the list.
What?
Number 1 is 2008, The Midnight Meat Train, starring Vinnie
Vinnie
Jones and Bradley Cooper.
Jones. Hang
And-
on. Wait. No. Stop. I knew Vinnie Jones was in it. Did you just say Bradley Cooper?
Bradley Cooper's in it as well. Brooke Shields is also in it.
Shut your ass.
There is something called Deathline from 1972. The End of the Line from 2007. But then the rest of the list, I'd argue, isn't fully set on subways. They probably just have scenes that are. So, like, Cloverfield is on that list. Friday the 13th Part 8 is on the list. American Werewolf in London.
Friday the 13th Part 8, it's on it for like 20 seconds where he shoves the woman
I mean,
down.
he's only in Manhattan for like 2 minutes. So yeah, the rest of the list, I think they're stretching it a little bit. So it goes back to what we were saying, that I don't think there's I think it's a bit of an untapped location for a horror film. I don't think there's a lot.
In my opinion, it works.
Oh yeah.
If it's done right though, because there are a lot of issues with this film in the plot, storytelling, the writing for sure, but the way things work, especially the way the tube system works is, and I don't mean this in actually the tube is the wrong train. No, in that sense, they got the right train on the right platform. Although there's a part where she sits on the train and it goes for about 15 seconds. She should have been a lot further away from the station she walked back to. So whatever. But no, they got it all right. It's like in a Bond film. I remember they got a Daniel Craig ones. They got the train wrong. Like it was the wrong line. That train would not be at that station. It's on a different line. But no, everything's right here. Everything's right. The station is not a set, like you said. It's the real station. But there's a few problems with. I mean, let's get into the story. It's a very simple story. It's a very simple story. Our main lead, Kate, is at a party at the start of the film, and she has to leave the party because she's going to interview or meet up with George Clooney. I don't know if she states what she's trying to get into his pants.
Remember.
That's for sure.
I think at this point, this party scene, I was Googling who the various cast members were.
Yeah, that's
because there was a lot of like, oh, they're familiar. Oh, they're familiar. Basically, everybody that appears on the screen in the first like 5-10 minutes, I was like, oh, I recognise them. Why do I recognise them? There was something about George Clooney, but I don't know.
So she leaves this party. She wants to go, interview George Clooney. To get there, she can't hail.
It's probably that.
Looks to hail a cab, can't get one, even though that is not anyone's first option in London to hail a cab. It is the tube is the first option, or a bus. Goes down to get the tube. The last train is in like 8 minutes. Sits on the platform, has a little mini, I'd say vodka on her.
Yeah.
Takes a swig, takes another, falls asleep very quickly.
Makes eye contact with somebody eating noodles.
Yeah, and gives him the look
in a rather intense way. Poor guy.
This guy's just enjoying his food,
just having his little takeaway.
And I actually like how this works. The transition of it doesn't cut. She falls asleep, but then the camera then pans around to give the impression that all this time has passed. Maybe an hour or two has passed. That she has fallen asleep, missed the last train, and she is locked down there. She's locked down there. And basically from here onwards, the horror starts to begin for her. She is trapped in the underground with an unknown entity.
Yeah. Although we don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet, no.
And I think this film does a really good job of hiding the creep.
Agreed.
Or Craig, as we find out. he's called.
Yes.
For quite a long time, it does a really good job, I think, of there's a lot of just subtle skittering in the background, a few weird noises and things like that.
POV
but it's not
shots.
Immediately apparent to the players. We as the audience know that there's something going on, because obviously there's a little prologue scene as well that we've not mentioned. We've skipped over.
Well,
with the two sewer workers.
Oh, of course. Sorry. I also before that, I thought when you said prologue scene, I was thinking of the opening credit crawl, which is again very similar to last week's with My Bloody Valentine, which is also the opening prologue, which is also very important to the film.
Yeah.
There's an opening, it's very blurry, the opening credits here,
Yeah.
which is kind of inferring what's happening with the film. It's not really that clear. Yes, the opening credits, it's kind of you're set up to, there's something on the ground with the two sewage workers.
Mm-hmm.
I am putting it out here now. This film is canonically sequel to the Only Fools and Horses universe.
Okay.
It's not, but I'm saying it is. Because one of the sewage workers is the Shadow from an episode of Only Fools and Horses where they get stuck in a robbery of the supermarket. And the robber is called the Shadow.
Really?
It's him. He's called the
Ken
Shadow.
Campbell.
I
think it's Ken Campbell that plays him.
Let me have a look. He's an awful robber. Vass Blackwood.
Oh,
he's the Shadow. It's great. It's a great episode.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the other guy. When you thinking, because the other chap's a lot older, isn't he?
Yes, the old guy, his boss.
Vass Blackwood is. I knew him from Mean Machine.
Yep, and Lockstock.
That's where, and he's also in Lockstock as well. But I can't remember Lockstock.
Mean Machine is so good. Is in Mean Machine? Is he the guy that can get you anything?
He's he ends up being Vinnie Jones's right hand man, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like the team's coach and stuff. I can't remember if that's his actual prison role.
It's a cracking film.
But yeah, it is. It's very good. But
anyway,
that's where I knew him from.
So yes, our little prologue scene with the two sewage workers, Vass Blackwood, who we just mentioned, playing George and his boss Arthur. Yep, they're down the sewers. And they discover a new tunnel, whereas Arthur's been down there for decades. New tunnel.
Yeah.
And this has always interested me about London in general, that there have got to be so many abandoned tunnels down there that I imagine the whole of London is it's like a city of tunnels underneath it.
Yeah, there will be old stations and things like that. I think you see some, can't you? When you're actually on the train, you go through you go past old stations and things.
I've been on a tour. I've been on a tour of an abandoned, not abandoned one, but a disused one called Aldwych, which is on the Strand. And you can go down there, see the old trains, see the old posters on the walls. Yeah, they're fascinating. And you can also do the Royal Mail tour where they have the trains underneath.
Okay.
Yeah. But so they discover a new tunnel, which has clearly been, shall we say, it was there before, but it was bricked up. And
it's bricked up, but there's now a hole in the brickwork.
And Arthur meets his maker in this tunnel. We don't see how. George finds him, and we ends up with a cheap little jump scare. Mm-hmm. Now this little jump scare kind of, because they don't really do jump scares in this film. Jump scares are actually done, I think, quite well. Similar to what you said about how we see the creep scattering around here and there. The jump scares are done well because there's no audio blaring in your face.
Yeah, really
good. Apart from this one, where he hears a scuttling to the side, and there's a woman with bloody face runs towards him, and then we cut to the opening title. But this kind of confused me as to who is this woman, why is she down there. We never really come back to it. We see her body later on.
Yeah, I think what it is she's covered in blood and screaming, and she comes lurching out of the gloom, but then she gets dragged back. So I think she's another victim that happens to be down there at this moment, and we're seeing sort of her getting captured. But yeah, it's like you said, there is no explanation. I had a real sort of Mandela effect with this film because we watched it, and me and my girlfriend Vic, we both watched it last night, and both of us said that we had distinct memories of there being more of an explanation as to who the creep is and how he ends up down there.
Me too. Now, I remember I remember his name was Craig, and I always remember when I was younger laughing at that. Oh, he's called Craig. That's not scary.
Because it's such a normal name.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just, yeah.
And I remember the plot point of there's sort of like a underground medical facility where they were testing on kids.
Yeah.
But this film, and I know this was my last note, there's little to no verbal exposition in this film.
Oh, none whatsoever.
There's not like a third act exposition scene where we get a flashback like Craig was born here and then this happened and then the psycho doctor there's none of that. We're led to think for ourselves.
Well, this is the thing, and I watched when it finished, we were both like, hang on a minute, because we both had like, we were sure that there was like a major exposition scene, possibly like an old videotape that was something like that, right? Okay. Now, so having the DVD, checked out the extras to see if there were any deleted scenes or alternate scenes that would explain it. There was an alternat beginning proposed and an alternate ending proposed. Now, the alternate ending would have been a long drawn-out battle between Craig and Kate underneath a subway train.
Underneath the train?
Yeah, basically underneath the moving tube train. They'd be like fighting in some sort of like maintenance pit or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think they called something like suicide pits.
Yeah, you're right. They fall off and you can, yeah.
So they'd be fighting in that. I guess it would have been too big of a budget type of thing to film, so they didn't do it. But the proposed alternate ending was going to be in the medical room that we see later on, or in that facility, a bunch of doctors frantically like removing the kids, people burning documents, and basically the whole operation, whatever it was, shutting down.
Yeah. And
as they like left and the wall was bricked up, we'd see a young Craig hiding under a cupboard, which may be what the blurry imagery of the opening credits is. It might be that's what we see.
Up while you're talking.
But anyway, they didn't use it because, and the reason the director, I can't remember the director's name, Christopher Smith. The reason he gave that they didn't do this is that they didn't want to give or make you too sympathetic about Craig because he's supposed to be this, killer, horrible, cannibal implied, I guess. And they thought that like seeing sort of how he came to be in this predicament would be a little bit, it'd create too much sympathy for the character. But I would have absolutely sworn blind, put money on the fact that there was some big
ditto
videotape recording, or they find a file or something or other, and it's not. It's just implied in the scenery that we see these, there is a medical room, and we see these document,
see fetuses in jars on the wall,
and, name tags of patients and things. But yeah, my memory of it is 100% that there was more exposition and an explanation as to how we was down there.
Completely agree.
So it really confused me when it wasn't there.
So while you were discussing it, I'm watching the intro, the blurry intro, just on mute, and it's really hard to understand what's happening. But it's mostly blurry imagery from that medical facility, the two rooms. You can see the tiles on the floors, blood, the surgeon scrubs and whatnot. But it's really hard to, if you watch that, if you were like, right, I need to pay attention to this from the get-go, I still don't think you'd get an impression of what it was or what was going to happen.
No, okay. But it's really interesting though that you also think that there was a scene like that as well.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
That's three of us. That's three of us that have basically just infilled these blanks in our heads. It's for scenes that aren't there.
I also quite like that though, because as much as I was waiting for it, there's no I don't know, say they got out of the tube, end of the second act, and they found the doctor. They found his name. They found the doctor. Went knocking, and the doctor's like, "Who's there? Don't come in. I don't take visitors." Yeah. And then they sit down with him, and he's like, "Decades ago, we had this. We were doing experiments under blah 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 blah." Yeah. And they look at each other. It was him, Craig. And Craig's followed them there, and he kills the doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it ruined it. It'd given too much away, definitely. It'd given too much away, and it certainly adds to the horror, it not being explained. Or,
it does.
You know, it's just what you infer from the set and from the scenery and stuff like that. But it's just really interesting that I think the three of us have all misremembered the film, basically, because I can see it clear as day thinking about it. I can see this happening, and I thought there was a lot more in that medical facility with
me too.
A torture scene and stuff like that. I mean, what happens is really quite brutal.
I don't remember that. I did not remember that part, and that was very brutal.
But yeah, again, I remember there being more, and it being almost like he's attempting to breed or something like that. There was like a subplot of him trying to find a mate, essentially. So maybe there's another film out there that I'm like combining. But yeah, it's odd.
It's fascinating though. Fascinating that we all think that.
I mean, I think that's probably what the filmmaker's intent was. So, you know, kudos, I guess. Well done.
Yeah.
You've managed to do a lot more storytelling without really doing anything there, which is great, you know. Show don't tell.
So yeah, back to the film. The film itself. Our lead Kate, she's a heavy sleeper apparently.
Really heavy sleeper.
My God, if you've ever been on the London Underground, and I think a lot of underground stations would have this sort of feeling. They are loud. When a train pulls in, you also get the wind. You know when a train's coming down the tunnel because it's pushing the wind down the tunnel, and that's when you know it's coming. How the hell she fell asleep and this train, the last train, did not wake her up? Like she was out. She is out. It's not implied as to how long she's been asleep for, but does the film end up? The film ends in the morning, right? At the end. So people, the first train's coming in. Now normally that's about 5:30 a.m. So in theory, this whole film happens around the span of, I mean, last train's probably 12:30, 1 in the morning. For 3 to 4 hours, this film happens. But yeah, it baffled me. That was one of the first notes I took, how much of a deep sleeper. And this was what I was saying earlier about inconsistencies with the way these stations and stuff act. Excuse me. No one checked the platform. Yeah. No one checked it.
Yeah. I mean, Vic was saying this as we're watching it. She's like, oh, as if nobody would come and check. As if this, as if that. And I was like, well, you know, you've got to suspend a little bit of disbelief because it's a movie at the end of the day. And if she doesn't fall asleep on the train, I mean, you know, on the platform, and there's no movie. Come on.
No, and the suspending of disbelief also comes back into question later on, where she speaks to the nighttime supervisor, who is a knobhead. Yes. So that shows there is someone working at that station, the same station. Oh yeah, she's on the camera. Yeah, doesn't see her.
Presumably watched her. Well, or was watching her asleep and thinking she's going to miss her last train. Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to go here and there. We'll carry on with the film. Stories like this, I need a reason why this is happening. All these incidents are happening on this night. Why this night? Okay. Because it's not just innocent people. Tube drivers are getting wrecked here as well.
Oh yeah, okay?
This is a national emergency the next morning. Yeah. This is a big issue.
Yeah,
How
that
has this
occurred to
not
me as
happened
well.
before? Has this not happened a few nights before? Like, why this night?
I mean, presumably it has. I mean, we don't know how long, because we later find that George, from the beginning, the sewer worker, has been captured and, you know, held. Craig, the creep, has half a dozen like cages basically that he keeps people in. And George is still Craig the creep. And George is still alive. George is still alive.
Yeah, he's fine.
When Kate later on gets captured herself. So it can't be more than, I mean, a couple of days at the absolute most.
Yeah.
That he got captured. It is an odd one, because you've got to kind of assume that he's been, Craig, that is, has been active all the time. He must have been, because he's survived for however long. So, and we know that there's been other victims, because there's the jump scare woman from earlier on.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just, it does seem to be sort of all of a sudden, and like you say, there's the security guard gets killed, a train driver gets killed. You know, that'd be like, it's not just like it's homeless people and sort of random people going missing. So, but it's like, it's either for some reason Craig has just decided to go really extra that night and properly go out of his way.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of like unreported murders happening, or, you know, disappear. I mean, people do go missing, and it doesn't always get reported. They do, I guess. But
we also don't see many. Like, they enter a room and there's it's like the body room. You know, all these people that got missing, here they are because Craig's been taking them. There's nothing that really like that. So it really is more of a case of, this is happening tonight. Craig's going ham on people tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. I know it's very nitpicky, but I just, why?
I think it's a fair comment. There's not, like you say, there's not really enough visual evidence that he's been active for a long time. I mean, the homeless. There's a couple of homeless characters. A couple have. I think they're. Jimmy and I can't remember the lady.
I think she's called Woman on the credits.
Yeah, the credits art doesn't name her, but
the credits are bad.
Like, I feel it's something like Ella or.
Oh
Emma,
no, sorry, it's Mandy. It's Mandy.
Oh, Mandy. Okay.
Mandy, yeah, Jimmy and Mandy, yeah.
Jim. So Jim actually does say when. So to go back to where we are in the story, she wakes up. She's missed the last train. She goes running around the station, basically looking for a way out, looking for somebody to help her. And she finds a dog that leads her into a little maintenance hatch, which is where Jimmy and Mandy have been living, presumably. And she offers Jimmy money to take her to where the security guard is to help her get out. And he, because at this point she feels like she's being attacked, hasn't she? We'll go
we have to talk about her and Guy. The little situation with the that really annoyed me, that scene.
But to get to my point, Jimmy does make a point. Does tell her a story that homeless people have been going missing, and then he turns around and says that he's joking. So the only sort of think, okay, there has been something like preying on the homeless community and what have you, but he's telling fibs. So yeah, we don't really get any evidence as to to why now and why it started, unless it's just that station's turn. Presumably he's been operating on other station. Maybe he's, there's because we never really find out. We know that the entrance into the Charing Cross side of things is new, but we don't know just how sort of extensive his little access points to various other sewers and tunnels is.
Yeah, the thing with that, like, this again, all hangs back to why now. Okay, if we go with the idea of, okay, it's this station now, we see later on Craig has somewhat set himself up a little home base, a little room for himself in an abandoned old station like we were talking about earlier on. which I guess is close to Charing Cross. So maybe I don't know, maybe it's left your interpretation, this film. Like we said,
mean, he's
a
just
lot of
chucking
it's left.
bits into the sewer system because he can access the sewer tunnels.
Yeah, yeah.
Where he is, yeah, it leaves it leaves a lot open to interpretation, I guess. Or make your own mind up about it.
And we like we said at the beginning with the prologue, where he captures, kills Arthur, captures George, and we see the woman trying to escape Craig. Where did this lady come from?
Yeah, we don't know.
We
who
don't
she
know.
Is, no.
But I don't know. I know there is the case for the argument case for a lot of people do go missing. But if a lot of people go missing in the same area, tube area, that kind of brings a lot more questions into it. Okay, we need to check this out.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could have been addressed as well. Like when when Kate leaves the party and she's going to get a cab, and she says, "Like, there's no cab.
Yeah,
I'm going for the tube." There could have been like some line of dialogue about, well, be careful because people catching the tube last have gone missing, last seen catching the tube late at night round here, or there could have been sort of a little feed in there to say what was going on. But like you say, I mean, you're taking it at face value. I guess it sort of just comes out of nowhere.
This is a chain reaction case because of what happens, which we should get into with Guy and Kate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yep.
Kate is left on. She, like you said, she's trying to see if there's an exit out. Every exit is locked. She's stuck in the station, and then a train pulls up, right?
Yeah.
Which even that in itself is a bit weird. Now, unless I just don't understand, because that has a driver in it, an official driver.
Yeah.
But he pulls up, it stops, and the door's
open, and it's supposed to be past the last train. Yeah.
Which is a really weird, because he would have seen her there. The driver, he would have seen her on the platform. So,
well, no, actually, because the train's she hears it. She's trying the gates and things, and she hears the train. She runs back down and jumps on it. But the train is still scheduled to stop there, and there's not supposed to be any more trains running because it does stop, and the doors open. We see Kate jump on, and then we see in the background a blurred something jumping on as well,
which ends up being Guy, a gentleman from the party at the beginning, who is an idiot to begin with. He is a very simple man who thinks no means yes, which we'll get into in a minute. But even just from verbally, where she's like, "I would rather be anywhere but with you," he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?" Basically, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Ends up being him. But how did he get into the station?
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm not sure.
No, tell me, Aidan. How did he?
I'm just trying to find where it is. Because she hasn't met the homeless guys at this point, has she?
No, she met one homeless guy outside before she got the tube, which she just basically was a bitch to.
I mean, she buys the travel card off Mandy.
Yes. For £20.
Yes, I do like she throws money at every problem, does Kate, throughout the movie. So when she's trying to buy a ticket, and there's the snooty woman behind her that just wants her to get out of the way and hurry up, and the homeless girl offers the travel card. Do you want to buy a travel card? £1.50. And she's like, I'll give you 20 quid.
20 quid for it.
And then she chucks £100 around to try and get what she's just used to just paying for some problems to go away like all the time. Yeah, I just want to say, actually, just around this bit, we see that there's a lot of the shots of Kate are sort of like we're in somebody's point of view.
Yes,
they're sort of like half hidden behind walls or sort of peeping up over the escalator steps and things like that. I think it's shot really well. I think it gives you. I didn't take it as it being. We are definitely seeing somebody's point of view here. No. I took it as just being sort of cinematography choices, but it worked really well to convey that sort of impression that she's being watched. Yeah, just talking about Guy. He says that they're locked in for the night, so he does cocaine about it, and tries to sexually assault.
Have his way with her, have his way with her, and then Well, at the same time, though, where he's trying to have his way over in the centre part of the carriage where there's no seats, so near where the doors are. Did the doors open?
The doors open. Yeah,
But
the doors just randomly open.
At this point, the train had already been stopped.
Because the train sets off and then it stops.
And then he had killed the driver.
And he appears, Guy, he being Guy, appears with the light on his head and sort of scaring her.
Hi, Jinx.
Turns out to be him. Yeah, and then the doors just randomly open, and
that's it.
He gets dragged off.
Yeah, he gets dragged underneath the train. Yeah,
we hear him screaming, and he emerges bloody, sort of pulls himself up to tell Kate to run.
Lie, you fool.
Yeah, in a scene very reminiscent of Gandalf fighting the Balrog. He does. Just...
Poor man's Gandalf and Balrog.
And a lot more cocaine-y, rapey Gandalf.
Yeah.
And she hightails it along the train and out the door and back along the track to the station.
Yeah, she runs to the back of the train. And then she's in the driver's area at the back of the train. You can see under the door and there's someone there. So she hightails it out. Now, this is the point I said earlier where the camera pans, the next shot of the camera work is, there's the station. It's just there. But she's been on this train for a good 10 seconds at least or so with it moving. And they go pretty fast. I would give it 40 miles an hour, maybe 30, 40 miles an hour. So she would have gone pretty far.
Yeah.
And it's right there. It's about a 30-second walk.
But I mean, given the amount of footage of people running around in dark tunnels in this film, I can forgive them for not having another extended scene of somebody running down a dark tunnel.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, you're right. She is suddenly. It's almost like the train hasn't moved.
No, not at all.
She's suddenly back there. But yeah, I'm willing to let it slide. Given that, if I have a big criticism of this film, it is there is a lot of footage of just people running around in dark tunnels. But in a movie set on the underground, you can't really criticize too much for that because what else is it going to be? But it's at this point when she meets the dog, isn't it? And hooks up with the.
That dog got credit at the end.
Did it really?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I was looking for it, and yeah, he had a little credit at the end.
Good. Ray the dog.
Yeah.
Playing a strapper playing Ray the dog. Yeah.
That's the one.
Good on him. He was a good little boy.
Well, it was implied at one point that he gets killed.
It was. I was really upset. I was really upset, but also kind of like, ooh, the dog actually dies in this, but then he doesn't. You're all right, folks. He does come back. Strapper is also known for Creep 2004 and Divorcing Jack in 1998. So there you go. 2 little credits under his belt.
2 big hitters right there.
Yeah.
The scene with Guy though was where I noted down. I didn't know exactly what he said, but his writing, the writing for him was so bad. I mean, it may as well have been. No means yes, Kate. You want this, don't you? Yes, you do. I want it. It's going to happen. The writing was horrific. The writing is so bad.
I mean, it is. Yeah, the lights go off and they're locked in. There's like, we're locked in for the night, so take your dress off.
Yeah, because I've already started unzipping, so you know what that means. Yeah.
Not a very nice man.
No, and he gets what's he gets what's coming to him in a way because of what he did. But then as you mentioned earlier, Kate meets our homeless couple. And they go back to the platform and she wants to help him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And all the while
Jimmy
is like, he tried to rape you. He tried to rape, he's
we have to help him.
Threatening himself. Yeah, she does go out of her way to try and help him, and we get a good close-up shot of the mess of his back, his wound on his.
Yeah,
he looks like he's been repeatedly stabbed.
That really bothered me, where she wanted to help her rapist.
Yeah,
like we're kind of all in this together, but at the same time, you're a scumbag who tried to sexually assault me in a vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
Screw you. You can stay there. And this is the same platform, right? This is the same platform at Charing Cross where she was at the beginning.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and this is where she presses the emergency button to speak to our supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't she press that to begin with?
Well, I don't know. This is, again, because she goes off and meets Jimmy and Mandy, pays £50 for him to lead her or come with her. And partly because she's scared, because she knows something's out there and Guy's been attacked. But, yeah, it is just back. They seem to be walking an awful long time as well to get back to the to the platform. But yeah, they get back. They find him all slashed up, and she talks to the security guard, and he's horribly unhelpful. A real job's worth.
His writing is really bad as well. His script really bad.
Who played him, because he looked familiar as well.
Yeah, he seemed like. I mean, a lot of these people are from the mid 2000s sort of era. They've been maybe probably a lot. I know a guy who I think was in like Casualty or Holby City or something.
Yeah.
I don't even see his credit.
No, he must have been given an actual character name, but I can't find it.
So many of these credits are man, girl,
yeah.
friend,
guy.
woman, yeah, guy, yeah. I can't remember. You probably, if you've seen sort of British TV in the mid 2000s, you'll have probably seen most of the cast in various things. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we get this interchange, this exchange between Kate and the security guard. He's watching her on CCTV, and he's basically paranoid that it's some sort of setup for him to be like robbed or attacked. She's sort of saying, "Can you call an ambulance? This guy's hurt." And he's like, "Oh well, you could be a gang of crackheads. So prove it." So she basically drags his. At this point, he does die, doesn't he? And she basically drags his lifeless body out onto the platform and goes, "See."
She doesn't have much effort dragging him. That's a big body, and she is okay.
Yeah,
just dragging him across.
At this point, we get a shot of inside the security office and a pile of rats, which
it's his calling card.
It happens a couple of times, doesn't it?
It does,
to the point where you think he's almost like a Pied Piper figure. There's like a whole mess of rats just sort of turn up just before Craig arrives.
You see rats, oh god, Craig's coming.
And this is the first time that we actually get a shot of maybe what he is, or they get a close. It's only the body, isn't it? It's his arms and his body, and he cuts the security guard's throat. But we see, his sort of arms and skin, and it's the closest look we have at this point as to what.
That's a huge deal.
What the creep is.
More staff are going to turn up to that office. Their colleagues been butchered.
Oh,
that tube train, the driver's dead. That tube train is stationary now.
I mean, still sat in the tunnel.
So that means no other trains can go. They're going to have to investigate. I thought very thoroughly about this.
I think you're right, though. It does have an impact at the end. So the end is like Kate, spoiler, she survives, sitting on the platform just as the sort of first commuters of the day are arriving on the platform. But yeah, presumably the workers would have been in and found all this first, and that station will be closed because there's a train on the line. I didn't even think about that. A double murder, you know what I mean? They come into work and go, "Oh, we cannot open this." I mean, also as well. I mean, again, if you want to be really nitpicky, the stations close at night for cleaning, don't they? So there should be cleaners wandering around. And there aren't. So,
or now, I mean, I don't even think as well the 24-hour lines existed back then. Some of the lines, like the main lines, are now 24 hours. I don't think one of these. I think this was the Jubilee or Northern line But yeah, I don't think they would have had 24 hours back then. Yeah, so there's that's our security guard gone. Where do they go next?
Well, meanwhile, while this is happening, Jimmy has gone off.
Oh, that's it.
Meanwhile, Mandy, who has been left in their little cubby, and she's out of it on whatever their drug of choice is. I think it's implied that it's heroin.
I think it is, yeah.
She sort of comes to and is snatched.
Yes.
So Jimmy goes back after he's led Kate to the security guard, and he goes off. And on the way, the dog turns up covered in blood, and he runs off, and he essentially finds a blood trail outside their little maintenance hatch, leading off. And he has a big like, Mandy, oh no, not Mandy, sort of breakdown moment. Follows the blood trail down to the platform, and then gives up.
Yeah,
we have the exchange
the big give
up, the security guard, but yeah, my notes says Jim gave up on finding his lass and did heroin about it. But then suddenly he's back in action and fully compos mentis as Kate comes back to say, like, we need to try and get down the tunnel to the next platform. So that's what they do. Passing through, and he's sort of on one like revenge mode, and he gets pulled up by his head between the two train carriages and stabbed.
I remember that in the trailer, that scene. Jimmy standing in between the two train carriages and the hands coming down and grabbing him.
Yeah,
and again, I don't believe it's done as a jump scare with a.
Oh no!
It's done very well. Like I don't think you would see that coming. Maybe.
No, I mean and we sort of get the sense as well that Craig is freakishly strong.
Oh yeah, God yeah.
Like I mean, he literally picks the guy up by the head with two hands, but then holds him with one hand while he repeatedly stabs him.
Yeah.
Which is a feat of strength.
Or whatever he does, we don't actually see what happens.
We don't actually
see the marks on Jimmy's face.
Yeah, but I think there are sounds that sort of would imply stabbing, and we know that he uses like knives and things from the other kills and stuff.
Yeah. After this, we pretty much get Kate on the run from.
Yeah.
What she still doesn't know what this thing or who this is.
No idea. She ends up in a tunnel that's full of like boxes, like archive boxes.
Yeah, very odd, very
and
odd.
Paper records and stuff. I think it's not really implied how she gets there, because in essence she was going from one train platform to another by walking down the tunnel, but she somehow detours and ends up in this sort of side tunnel, which I'm guessing is the fringes of Craig's little domain. Just with it being all these archive paper record boxes.
You reckon they could be to do with
something to do with that?
They could be to do with the medical facility or what? Yeah, okay, I get that.
Anyway, it's anybody's best guess really, but that's what I took it to be, that she sort of found a way into this medical facility, research facility, whatever you want to call it.
Well, where she ends up in this archive room, we get a brilliant jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
But again and again, very well utilized with no blaring audio. Because just his face, there, she turns the light off.
Face to face with Craig the Creep.
As do you, because the screen, as you're watching, she's running, hides, turns the. Is it a light or no? It's a torch, right? Is it a torch?
Torch, yeah.
Turns the torch off, sits down. Screen is black, and suddenly there's Craig's face just in her face, and it's very reminiscent of the monsters, the sort of beasts on The Descent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I guess because he lives underground in pretty much near darkness. His vision has mutated. His vision has become more adjusted to that environment. The monsters from The Descent, I don't know if they were blind or they had excellent hearing,
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
you have
very
it.
pale.
Oh, hello.
We've got, this is an extra 100 views right here.
There we
We've got
go.
Wally's come to say hello.
Goodbye. Yeah, he gave me very reminiscent feelings of the Monsters from Descent, the bald, mutated sort of head with the odd little bit of hair on him.
Yeah.
He also gives that high-pitched scream every now and then.
He does, yeah. He's sort of emaciated. He does look very much like, or maybe, actually, tell you what he looks like is one of the Reapers from Blade 2.
Wow, that's a pull.
But yeah, very pale skin, next to no hair.
Oh yeah, he does, without the big mouth opening.
Yeah. Sort of, yeah, not hugely deformed.
No, not at all, really.
But like obviously very unhealthy. There's sort of like a lot of scars and sores on him and things as well. But yeah, recognizably human, I'd say. You know.
Oh yes.
You're not looking at a monster per se in the same way as like, you know, the creatures from the Descent or what.
No. The thing is, where we go from here though is that he's basically kidnapped her now. He's grabbed her and taken her back to his lair.
Yeah.
Said lair though, what is this area?
I mean, I don't know. It's Kate even asked the question because at this point she meets up with George. She's in a cage. The cages are sort of in water, so they're suspended up to sort of their necks.
Yeah.
In water, and then there's like 6 cages. It's like 3 either side of a gantry.
Yeah.
It's like she asks what it is, and he says it's just part of the sewer system. It's like it's some sort of pump room or something. You've got to assume that the cages have. I always took the cages to be sort of Craig's edition, though.
I got really annoyed that she doesn't ask enough questions here to George. Like, how long have you been here? What's been happening? What's going on? Where? Like, she doesn't ask anything. She doesn't communicate at all with him.
No, she doesn't.
We also get a shot of Craig cutting up someone's body and feeding some flesh to some rats.
Mm-hmm.
So keeps them alive. We never actually get the impression that he's a cannibal.
No, he does bite George.
Yes.
In an attack later on. But yeah, I mean, there's a big body to feed to the rats.
Yeah, he just slivers off a little bit.
There's no direct evidence for it. I agree.
No.
I would
assume,
yeah, that he's storing people. Why else is he capturing people? You know what I mean? It's a larder. That was my take on it. But yeah, there's never any direct evidence that he's eating people.
He's got this sort of like harpoon stick just to test if his victims in the cage are alive or not.
Yeah, which was interesting because it was like, is he waiting for them to die before he? Just waiting for them to die before he.
He's very polite. Very polite.
He's obviously capable of killing people.
Oh god, yeah.
But
I mean, at this point, he's already killed Guy, Arthur,
the driver,
and
the
Jimmy,
and the security guard.
So that's 5. He's already killed 5 people in the space of an hour or 2, maybe.
And presumably the woman from the beginning.
Yes.
So
well, she's hung up. We find out in one of the corridors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's hung up.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's weird that he then unless I suppose it wasn't waiting for him to die and they just died when he was taking it out. But
possibly, maybe he's just toying with his prey. We get to. Oh, she's been kidnapped. She's in the cage.
We got she's in the cage. Just to step back for a minute, according to railwaymoviedatabase.com.
Oh yes, do tell.
The deep level shelter used for document storage we see her running through has been suggested it is Belsize Park.
I know Belsize Park, yeah.
So there you go. that is the good people at the British Railway Movie Database.
You got that on that website you just sent me?
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Oh, there's a lot. There's actually a lot. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we got to the point. Yeah, she's captured by Craig, and she meets George, and they basically work out that the cages that they're in don't stretch all the way to the bottom, so she can possibly pull herself like under the cages and get out. So she manages to get out and stilettos Craig in the eye. So they have a little fight. I mean, the rest of the movie at this point is basically there's a lot of like fighting him off and running away, and then fighting him off again and running away, until the end essentially.
But first, the medical facility.
They're in the medical facility. We have a shot around the medical facility, and they see these name tags and the fetus and jars and
the cots and the cribs.
The cots and the cribs. As we were saying earlier, it's not explained exactly what's going on here or what has been going on here, but you can infer that it's some sort of secret research medical facility of which Craig was a part. So while they're in there, they find Mandy, the homeless lady, on a operating table chair.
Yeah.
She's strapped there, legs wide, in a hospital gown, and there's already a lot of blood that implies that she's been operated on, tortured, attacked her in some way.
We get George's medical experience here, where he pronounces her dead by wiggling her toes.
Yeah, training well paid for, because she's in fact not dead. But George and Kate sort of leg it at this point.
Yeah,
and we get Craig's attempt at surgery.
Yeah, what I took from this was that, again, we have to make our own interpretation of what has happened here in the past, and that he pretends to be a surgeon.
He goes through the motions.
There's no running water in the tap.
No, but he goes through the mime of washing his hands.
So it's like he's seen this.
Gown on. Yeah, he puts rubber gloves on. Or attempts to put rubber gloves on, doesn't quite get one of them on, and it just I like it. It makes a really creepy image where he just sort of holds up these hands with like two fingers on one side, and it's all. Yeah.
He tries, bless him.
He tries. Yeah.
Puts the scrubs on.
Puts the scrubs on, and then, I mean, rams a giant bone saw up between her legs.
Yes, we don't see it. Thankfully, but
that is definitely what happens.
He tries to gas her first, tries to like put her out.
Oh yeah,
it's not actually connected to anything.
It's not connected to anything, but again, he goes through the sort of charade, the pantomime of putting the gas and air, the mask to her face, and sort of stroking her hair, and in a sort of pantomime of putting her under. Yeah, again, there's no explanation as to what he thinks he's doing. But yeah, he sort of horribly violates her with a... That can't be a real medical tool. It's like a 6... Well, how big? It's like 1.5 meters of like
it looks like
serrated knife.
It looks ridiculous. Like Jason's new weapon in Jason X.
Or something from like Pyramid Head would be dragging around in Silent Hill. It's huge.
Like this is I'm gonna show you now. This is what a normal like bone saw looks like. Okay.
I mean, they're like relatively small, sort of hacksaw size, aren't they?
Yeah. Here's one. I'm trying to find it.
It's got to be like 3 foot long, at least. It's massive.
Yeah, it was huge. It's absolutely huge. Come on, there's got to be a shot here with him, because he can sort of holds it up, like he's wielding a sword.
Yeah, exactly. It's that sort of length, like sword length.
Well, one thing I will say, I actually think the best acting in this film is whoever's portraying Craig. He has some great facial expressions and mannerisms, the way he acts. Like,
it's Sean Harris, who you will absolutely recognise from loads of stuff. He's in Mission Impossible. He plays sort of a horrible gun dealer, drug dealer character in Harry Brown. He's in a couple of the Mission Impossible films.
Yes, I do recognise him. Yeah,
he's in a whole bunch of stuff. You'll definitely know him.
I thought he was fantastic. I really did like his mannerisms, the way he moves his head, slant down, his eyes roll around, moves like it was great. And he didn't say,
he's very good.
He didn't have to say anything
because it's silent as well. He doesn't have any dialogue, does he?
Well, he does, which we'll come up to next after he has violated and we'll leave it at violated Mandy. He catches up with George and Kate in an abandoned station where there's a control room which he has made his own. It's like a little bedroom.
Yeah. So there's like a dirty mattress and lot of dolls, lots of dolls, and like again, it's this sort of implication that babies because just before this, he looks at the row of pickled babies on the shelf, and he has sort of
babies.
he has they're raven-sized jars on this shelf, and he has like a little sort of moment of like remembering. But yeah, they find him in this bedroom, and they find a photograph of him, don't they, with a doctor.
Yes, there's a young, which looked like, I don't know if it is it Thomas Turgoose, the guy from This Is England?
Thomas Turgoose?
It looked like him.
Oh, right, okay.
It looked like him as a young Craig. I might be wrong.
Okay. I mean, I can't say one way or the other. That'd be a top little nugget of trivia if it is.
But yeah, what we were alluding to about Craig, does he speak or not? Is he silent?
Mm-hmm.
Before he actually violates Mandy is, then it's bothered me again with the writing. She's laying there basically crying out saying, please don't, like, if you don't do it, I won't tell, if you let me go, I won't tell anyone. And I hate that writing. I hate it because is he going to go, is this thing just going to be, oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, I'll let you go. It doesn't. Yeah. I not that anyone would, not either of us could either say what we would do in that experience because we don't know.
No, I could forgive it a little bit more because she's whacked out of her head on junk.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
And well, that really is, one I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
There we go. Yeah.
But the second is, she's off her head on Skag at the time, so it's like desperation, plea bargaining, and not actually quite being fully sort of conscious and in charge of your faculties, I guess. I don't know. I think it would though, whether as futile as or whatever it might seem. In that situation, or even outside of that situation, looking at it, I think anybody would sort of desperately try and do it.
Very generic, the lines that are being used. But the line she uses, I believe it is, if you let me go, I won't tell anyone, and please help, please stop, please don't. Shouting for Jimmy, specifically Jimmy. Because back at Craig's little room, George manages to take him down.
Yeah.
Gives him what for in the face, punches his face in.
Pummels him completely, and proper panels him.
As Kate is about to finish him off with what looks like a crowbar, we see Craig uttering those words, those lines that Mandy was uttering.
Yeah. At first, he does sound like he's just pleading. Please don't hurt me. Yeah.
And then he says the name Jimmy.
And then it's apparent that he's just mocking or
Yeah.
mimicking Mandy. But that is his only line of dialogue, I think, isn't it? I don't think he says anything else.
No.
Either before or after that. It is just, which again I think adds to the creep factor. That the only speech he delivers is a mocking parody of one of his other victims.
Yeah,
I feel
definitely,
like that's
definitely.
quite powerful.
Yeah. What would it be like if Art the Clown spoke?
Mm.
The silence can sometimes be more scarier than him speaking in, like Craig being like, "I'm going to get you."
Oh yeah, I mean, again, there's no reason for him to speak as well. He's been down there his entire life, as far as we know, and a good portion of that hasn't been with any real human contact. So apart from it is literally just mimicking of the sounds.
Yeah.
It shows obviously an intelligence that he's he recognizes that was a plea for help and stuff like that. But it is literally just mimicking the noises that one of his victims has made. He can't. I'm assuming he can't really speak English in the traditional sort of sense.
What does he then? Because Kate hesitates, which then leads to George's death. What is it that's sticking out of the wall that Craig impales George's head onto?
Is it not one of his knives? Is it not that knife that he used on the thing? It's some sort of serrated metal spike, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. In short, because the camera points at it earlier in that scene, and like really obviously foreshadowing that it's going to come into play.
Yeah.
At some point, but again, I just sort of glanced away at that and I was like, oh, I can't. I don't know if it was already there or if it was stuck through the wall or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's some sort of serrated, random bit of metal.
Yep. Yeah, and straight into his head. Straight into George. That is George gone. And I believe that Kate escapes while this is happening.
She does, yeah.
Back
again,
on the pursuit.
There's a lot more running around in dark tunnels at this point.
Yeah. I like that Craig's kept the scrubs on.
Yeah.
I did like that. So we kind of go to our final, final interaction between them two.
Yeah.
A little fight scene.
This is the final when he eventually catches up with her. This is the final showdown, and they have a fight. It's just a brawl, isn't it? Really, they just have a straightforward punch up.
In what looks like a sort of they look like archways supporting. It's a very open area. It's not like a tunnel.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, again, like you say, London. It's a city built on a city on a city on a city. You know what I mean? It's
Everything gets raised up over time.
Old cellars and tunnels, and it's difficult to say exactly what it is, but you're right. It is a relatively open space, and Craig gets his throat ripped out by some sort of chain hook combo.
Very odd, whatever it is, but
it's like it either Pinhead was down there previously, or this is some sort of like shipping related cellar. It's weird. It's like an anchor, isn't it? It's like a ship's anchor or something. Did they stop? Did older tube trains have like anchors and chains to stop them?
That I don't know about, I'm afraid. But yeah, this is after Craig's been giving her a bunch of fives in the face a couple of times, knocking her down.
They have a proper scrap.
Kind of toying with his prey again. He seems to recurring pattern of that throughout the film. And she finds this, whatever it is, again on the floor, sitting in his neck, and he's struggling to breathe, bleeding out, and the chain itself is linked all the way up to a hook on the wall, which is not far from a passageway to the next train line, where she sees a train. She sees another train just going past. Again, there are trains. I can believe that there trains do run in the night, maybe for certain They do
ferry and maintenance crews about and things like that. You'd imagine so.
Yeah, I can believe that. So she sees this train, and she didn't do what I thought she was going to do, because she runs up to that. She sees a sign on the wall that states "Danger, live track." Okay, so I thought, okay, well, the implication here is going to take the end of the train and chuck it on the live track, electrocutes him. She doesn't do that. So the sign in general is completely meaningless. She's already the implication actually is before that with the live train, the train going past, because of what she ends up doing.
Yeah,
where she kicks off the end of the chain off the wall, and manages just to hook it around the other side of the track, where the train eventually comes along, snags the cable, and rips Craig's throat out in the process. Yeah. So
I mean, it's like I say, this was originally going to be. Sorry, this.
I was about to say, have you got the cat there?
He's causing trouble. Yeah, this scene was originally going to be an extended brawl underneath the train, and the way that Craig was finished off was he was essentially going to be sort of pushed up as a train was passing, and he hits his head on the undercarriage of the train, and as his head sort of knocked off.
So it's the reverse of Speed 1.
Yeah.
With Dennis Hopper on top of the train.
Exactly. Basically, he was going to get Dennis Hoppered, but underneath the train instead of on top of it. I don't know the exact reason why I didn't do that. I assume budgetary stuff. I guess this was like a compromise that they needed something sort of spectacular, but it does seem a little bit overly elaborate.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, him getting finished off by a train, I suppose, would be kind of fitting, but they could have just had him be run over by one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tail there. I love it. I love it.
Absolute chaos.
I love it.
He's not normally in here when we record. But
I love
he's been
it.
asleep
Let it
in
go.
his box for hours, so I thought, you know what, I'll probably get away with it.
Yeah, some sort of middle ground, not extended fight scene, but maybe the fight actually goes towards where the train is. And rather the train hitting the cable and then rip his throat out, at least have him hit by the train somehow.
Yeah,
but just don't prolong it out as much.
I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was just like sort of not endlessly, just sort of overly elaborate, just like needlessly elaborate for what ultimately is just. I mean, he already had the hook in his neck, so you kind of got to assume that he was dead anyway. But but that is it. Sort of, he is no more. He's finished. And Kate finds herself back at Charing Cross.
Or back at they rented that station out on the night, because I can't imagine it's easy for studios to. I mean, this must have been independent films funded by the National Lottery and UK Film Council, and it didn't make that much money, so there can't have been that much money involved in this film in general.
No,
but to hire the space of Charing Cross Station, it's not a major hub, but it's a big station.
Yeah.
In tube sense, that can't have been cheap. So they must have 1 or 2 nights, maybe 1 night. That was much done.
So, yeah.
I mean, the tunnels, they could have used sets and other tunnels, but you would have had to they'd have to plan the whole film out. It's like, we've got to do this scene, then we've got to do the end scene. We've got to get it all done, and then we can film everything else outside of the tube station. Because it all revolves around Charing Cross. Which I also quite like. It wasn't a really famous tube station. It wasn't, or we're at King's Cross Station or Victoria, the more famous ones.
According to the Railway Movie Database, most of the station work was carried out on disused Jubilee Line platforms at Charing Cross and the Aldwych branch.
Disused?
Yeah, so they were, but I mean, there still must have been closures or out of hours filming. Just for safety reasons, I would have thought, having trains whizzing past. But apparently, at the time the film's released, the Times quoted the closed down Street station on the Piccadilly line as being used as well. but apparently no filming was undertaken there because it was inaccessible to anyone other than contracted staff.
Well, the thing
However,
is,
the trains really play a minor role, and the majority of the film used the station areas and associated tunnels. The concourse and cross packages at Charing Cross, the running tunnels, lift shafts, and stairs at Aldwych.
yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Thing is, there is no Jubilee line at Charing Cross.
Well, not anymore, according to this. Maybe that's what it means.
I don't believe there ever was.
Well, in that case, the Railway Movie Database needs to be updated. They've got their facts wrong.
Checking.
Who knows? So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I suppose that doing anything like that in London's going to be costly. There
was one. It was closed. Carry on.
Okay. So yeah, we have we have the end. And she finds her way back at Charing Cross again somehow. I mean,
yeah,
she spent all night running around in tunnel. It's mad that she's popped up at exactly the same one.
Loop.
Okay, I'm willing to let it go. So she sort of plonks herself down on the platform as our dog Ray turns up again. He's not dead, which is great. He hops onto her knee and she sort of laughs hysterically with relief and, just sort of an outpouring of emotion. Very sort of reminiscent of how Mandy the homeless girl looked as well with the dog earlier in the film, as the first sort of commuters of the day come out onto the platform. And that's it. Scene.
Yeah, I actually really quite like the scene, the way it's shot of... It's kind of mirroring the beginning where she encounters so many homeless people. She kind of treats the first one a bit shit at the ATM machine. And the guy asks for spare change and she's like, only gives out cash. Fuck you. And then she encounters obviously Mandy and eventually Mandy and Jimmy. Yeah. And it's kind of come full circle to her being what looks like the homeless person, whereas she'll be fine. Yeah. She'll go outside. She'll be able to...
I mean, she can just go home. Yeah,
she doesn't have to stay there.
Because she's essentially just having a breather, but yeah.
Well, she's got a lot of questions to answer after this. She's going to be questioned to hell by the police after this.
Yeah.
And we get the good shot of very quiet, and suddenly you hear footsteps, and businessmen just start walking in, so we know it's the morning. We know it's the first trains coming in, and one of them gives her a little bit of change, and comes full circle back round to her interacting with homeless people. And that's it. And you know what? This film clocks in at a nice 85 minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's nice. Because I'll be honest, I didn't feel bored.
No,
it's a good pacing.
It does. I was going to say this exactly. Yeah, it does. It clips along. It's a nice, tight story. It gets straight into it. And like I say, there's a little bit of repetition with running around in dark tunnels, but that's the setting of the film.
Yeah.
But, it's a nice, solid, tight little story that does it. It just, there's no fluff. It just does its thing. It goes through, and yeah, no, it's not boring. There's enough sort of gore and it's decently creepy as well, I'd say. I'm a fan. I like it. I think it's a good movie. It's a good watch.
Yeah, I agree that it does. To me, it does have its issues. It does have a few problems. Writing's not great here and there. No. I believe Craig. I'm coming back around to Craig. When you're a bit younger, like I said, the name Craig, scary. But in the context, of who he is, which you have to use your imagination for because there's no explanation. I understand. He was just a kid. It's called Craig. Okay, that's fine. Not every scary monster has to be called the bloodthirsty demon of Charing Cross.
The murderalizer.
Yeah.
Killer
Tron. It doesn't matter, right? In the end, it doesn't matter in the end. And I really like.
I mean, honestly, arguably, Freddy, Jason, Michael aren't frightening names.
I like Craig. I think Craig works as him. It's weird. It is weird how we both and your partner thought the same thing about the background of Craig's origin.
Yeah, definitely.
Very strange.
just a little bit extra on that, or sort of related to that. So the photo that they find of Craig and his, doctor, father, whatever, carer, whatever you want to call him. Originally, that photo had the other children, 3 other children in it as well. So we get a brief in that scene in the hospital room or whatever. We get shots of a couple of other name tags on beds, don't we?
Yes.
So the photo was going to have all 4 of the children, but apparently test audiences took that as an indicator that there would be more Craigs, more creatures. So they sort of like left, in sort of answering the questionnaire after the fact. They were all like, "So there's more of them, right? Then he's not the only one." And they were like,
"That would make sense."
Yeah, he is the only one. So they digitally removed the other 3 children from that photo, so it's not misleading. However, they would have had some sequel bait if they could have kept it in.
They would, but then how do you do that? Because of what we said about how, what happens the next day? Yeah. With the the tube in general, what happens the next day? Craig's body, it's gone.
yeah. I mean,
suspending disbelief. I know.
We're not huge fans of sequels for sequel's sake, generally. Anyway,
exactly.
So I'm not necessarily saying they missed they needed to make a sequel to this, but it's just quite surprising that an obvious opportunity for sequels there was missed. Yeah. Or even if one never materialized, they could have hinted at it. But I guess they didn't want to, so that's why they removed that ambiguity or that misleading notion of there being others.
2 questions then, which I think I know the first one. Recommendation?
I would. I'd definitely recommend this. 100%.
Yeah, I think I would. Second one, I was thinking about this the other day. I think you look on IMDb, they've got the ratings. I think this one has like a 5.8 out of 10. Okay, or something like that. Now, those ratings are normally done by user ratings, so that's how you get the average, right? Like the 0.8.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Like I can't just say, oh, actually, this film was a 5.7 because
5.6 currently.
Okay. Because like what makes me decide it's 0.7 and not 0.6? It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Okay. So I would say let's do like a school grading for this. What would you give this film, Creep 2004?
Ooh. I'd say C+.
C+. I think that's fair.
C+, yeah.
I'm going to go with C. But I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Has its pros and cons, but it's perfectly watchable and perfectly enjoyable for the most part.
Solid C. It's a pass.
It's a pass. It's a pass.
It's not winning any awards, but it's a pass.
No.
It's a fairly unique setting, I think it's fair to say, as we discussed at the beginning. I
think that's what props it up for me. The setting, yeah.
It's a good British film as well.
Yes.
Like you
German.
say, pardon?
/ German, I think. I think it was even
produced
by a German company.
The setting, I was thinking of the setting more, though.
Agreed.
Like you say, you can find that extra sort of element of being able to relate to it because of the subject matter and knowing that the tube being something that you're familiar with, and so I think that gives it an extra horror element as a Brit, it taking place in Britain in something distinctly British as the London Underground.
I'm using the tube tomorrow. Yeah. I'm using it tomorrow. I'm not going to Charing Cross, but I'm using it tomorrow. And ever since, I've always thought, I'd love to go down there. I'd love to go see what's down there or down there. Just urban explore them. I want to find my own Craig.
Yeah, I think if you've not seen it, I think I'd definitely recommend it. It's worth a watch. Like you say, it's not an overly long film. The story's pretty simple. You'll you can whack it on, and if you don't like it, you never, you know what I mean. It's not a huge chunk of your life. It's but there's some, you know, Sean Harris's Craig is a really good performance.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's nice and gory, and not the happiest of endings, really. I mean, she gets away, but
very distraught.
It's not that sort of, you know, sort of all nice and tidy, and she's into the arms of a loved one or the ambulance, and you know, she's kind of definitely through the ringer by the end of it. And
have you? One last thing. I've only just seen this now. There was an online 3D game made to promote the film.
Oh, really? I did not know this.
The Last Tube. There's a 2005 online 3D shockwave horror game made to promote the film and was produced by Jail Dog. Nearly 14 years after the game went down, the website known as the Lost Media, which I have now, Wiki, conducted a search for the game. Bu Chesluk, a developer for the game, was eventually contacted, and after some searching, he was able to locate the game files and send them to the cracks overhead. The game has since been uploaded to archive.org. I've got, if you look at this, I found it here. If you look at this, look at the game. There's a link under availability where you can get it, and if you scroll all the way down, look at the screenshots. It looks like it's done in like the Half-Life engine. It looks like Half-Life.
It does look a lot. Yeah, it does look a lot like Half-Life. That's cool.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued to try it out, to see if I can get it running.
See if you can get it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll report back next time.
Oh wow! I mean, that's
great.
You don't get stuff like this anymore. I remember there was a little zombie horde shooter thing for the Dawn of the Dead remake as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Old Flash game there for where you basically just, you know, move the mouse shooter, the zombies climbing over fences and jumping at you.
There's not enough viral marketing like this.
You don't know, there isn't.
Cloverfield had a good one. I remember Cloverfield had a good one.
Weirdly, I was watching a YouTube video about the Cloverfield series yesterday, and it was going through some of the viral marketing for the various films. Yeah, lots of fake websites set up for in world, in universe products and such. Yeah. Yeah, you just don't get that anymore.
Paranormal Activities, they had a lot of the trailers were not in the film. They were footage just made for trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
More effort needed, filmmakers.
Creep 2004, not Creep 2014 or Creep 2017 or TLC's Creep or Radiohead's Creep or Kelly Clarkson's Creep. It's a recommendation from us. Go check it out if you haven't. Or I would have thought you would have done if you've listened to this whole podcast now. But yeah, good pick there, sir.
Thank you.
One more for the end of the month is our penultimate episode on Monsters of Universal. We are looking at Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. I've never seen it.
No, I've never seen it.
Bits of the Michael Crawford show.
Oh, okay.
The Frank Spencer show. But yeah, never seen it.
No, I have not. And again, it's one of the things, like, I feel like I know the story like enough, but do I? Because I've never seen it. So you know what I mean. It'd be good to actually find out exactly what it is. I'm
intrigued to see how it fits in with a horror aspect, like the other monster films do. But
yeah.
We shall see next time. Yes, so wait for that. Check this out. Check all past content out on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts for now. That will be changing. Remember, folks, check that out if you listen on Google Podcasts and if you listen elsewhere. Amazon, Podbean, YouTube, Samsung Podcasts, and TuneIn, plus Amazon Echo/Alexa. I think I got all that. All by searching the Dreadcast, and on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok by searching the _Dreadcast.
You can email us at thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. For films you like, recommendations, comments, compliments. Share with your family and friends. And it'd be great to hear from you.
Yeah, and I do believe that's all business taken care of.
I think so.
So until next time, guys, everyone, stay safe. Thank you for watching, listening, however you're viewing this fine content. And we shall see you at the opera next time.
We shall see you at the opera. Is that the opera?
It's Martin from The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's the Phantom. He's like...